Welcome back to the class, everyone. When Lord Vader first came out several years ago, it caused quite an uproar because he was the most expensive character at the time, and that has actually continued to be true for several years until Galactic Legend Ahsoka decided to have 3 Relic 9 characters. Well, after all this time, we finally have a Lightspeed bundle for Lord Vader. And very differently from when we usually do these videos, the pack is already live. In fact, at the time of this is premiering, it'll probably have already been live for at least 12 hours. Typically, I try to time these right so they come out on the day of, but this one kind of snuck up on us. At any rate, here it is, and with my head in the way, you can't exactly see the price, but it is a grand total of $49.99 or 5% less if you are on the PC client. Now, that is an expensive price for a Lightspeed bundle, but as you probably already know where I'm going if you've seen these videos before, Relic 7 is wildly expensive. And I will show you the numbers and the breakdown of overall value as to where this sits with some of the other recent Lightspeed bundles. But there's two things that I want to address before I actually show those numbers, because it's important, because the number is going to look a little bit smaller than it actually should. And the reason why is because, for those of you who have watched these videos before, you know that we attribute value to Lightspeed bundles really via 2 specific items: Kyrotex and signal data, because those are the largest bottlenecks for the majority of players, and I want to kind of give conservative estimates to not talk people into buying something that they really shouldn't. That being said, while it's not a bottleneck for everyone, there are some players out there who are really having a hard time collecting Gear 12 materials, and while we don't necessarily always take that into account when it comes to Lightspeed bundles, it's going to matter even more this time, because for 10 Relic 7 characters, you are going to be getting a lot of value in Electrium conductors as well as Zimbittles when you get these characters instantly at Relic 7. The reason why that matters is because the items you need to craft these are also Gear 12 pieces. So I'm not going to necessarily attribute a value to these, because if I were to take the cost of Zimbittle and Electrium from shipments, it would be really expensive. Even if I were to use that one pack that comes out every now and then that is technically better than shipments, it's still not a great thing to do, because most people either get this from crafting or they get it from the raid. But I'm telling you this now because this is a little bit of a blind spot in our evaluation, and you shouldn't necessarily have to feel bad just because we're only giving a smaller number than maybe normal to the Lord Vader pack and you are going to purchase it. So actually going to the overall value of it, we have it here accompanied by several of the recent Lightspeed bundles. You can see here that it contains about 1,000 Kyrotech. It's a pretty simple number to find. There were 10 characters in total, and every single one of those characters is a legacy character that did not require Kyrotech until Gear 13, which gives you about this many crystals, assuming that Kyrotech can be bought for 28 crystals in the shipments, and it gets about $178 if you were to buy Crystal Vaults. Signal data is where this pack really punches. It's 62,000 crystals worth of signal data, just because the numbers to get all the way up to Relic 7 are very high, making it about a $400 value if you were to buy those in Crystal Vaults, giving it a total value of $577, meaning that it is 11 times better than its sticker price if you were to just go buy those 2 items, no shards, no Gear 12, right out of shipments. So that is the overall value that we're going to give it, but there's more that I want to talk about. Sometimes when I give these numbers, it's nice to know from a general fact because we're able to compare it to other packs. For example, here you can see that 11 times better is very in line with other Lightspeed bundles. In fact, it's very close to the average, which was 14, and that includes some of the really high number ones, like the original Supreme Leader Kylo Ren bundle. But what I want to show today is, for those of you out here who always watch these videos and enjoy them for other reasons, but always kind of are like, okay, Calvin, that's great that you showed me what this would cost if it came out of shipments. I'm still never buying shipments, so that's not really all that relevant. Well, do I have a spreadsheet for you? So if you never go and buy these characters, or rather the signal data out of shipments, this will help explain and really put into perspective how expensive 10 Relic 7 characters are. So to take one character to Relic 7, you need 115 gray signal data, 115 green, and 75 blue. Now, we've already kind of ran the numbers for if you were to buy those out of shipments, what that would actually cost. So I'll go ahead and hide these two columns here, and we can continue with the rest of the spreadsheet. If we assume these drop rates, which I took from an old data server, and times them, or rather divide them, to get these numbers, we can find out how many sims it would take you to get 115 gray. So at a 1.37 drop rate, it'll take you 83 sims, or 84 if we round up, to get all the way to 115 gray. Meaning that, because those cost 16 energy, it will take you, for one Relic 7, 1,343 energy on average to complete just that line of signal data. If we were to look at all three of them, it is 5,139 energy for one Relic 7. Now, assuming that you do 3 crystal refreshes a day in Cantina, and I don't know if you do, but let's say you do, that takes you about 10 days to Relic 7 one character. Again, very simple math incoming. To do that for 10 characters, it would take you 100 days. So basically what I am getting at here, and this is really relevant for people who are mostly free to play, that don't necessarily just go and buy signal data through the shipments. If you're really just wondering how much time this is going to save you, if you don't have any of these characters above Relic 0, or if you have them all below Relics, it's going to save you 100 days of farming and signal data, assuming you were refreshing on top of that. So it just kind of helps put things into perspective, because Relic 7 really is very different from Relic 5, because those numbers for signal data just keep getting larger as you go up the ladder. So now that we've talked about the overall cost, I do want to take a moment to also focus on the overall usefulness of this pack, because I think it's a really good thing for what is going on right now. The first thing that I want to point out is that 6 of the 10 requirements in here are actually required at Relic 7 for Galactic Legend Lord Vader. And the reason why I feel the need to bring that up is because we recently gotten some packs where characters were given at like Relic 6 or Relic 7, and not all of them were actually required to be there. So it ended up meaning not necessarily wasted materials, but you didn't, as I said before, you didn't need Relic 6 Resistance Pilot. That wasn't necessary to be able to get Galactic Legend Ray, and it's really not going to change the game that much for you. That being said, the Lord Vader pack, a lot of these characters are needed at Relic 7 or higher specifically for Lord Vader, so that does really track well in value. One of the other things that maybe a lot of people don't notice as well is that the fact they put all 4 501st Clone Troopers in here, that's going to allow you, assuming you have Krex at Relic 7 from Leia, it's going to allow you to beat the Zepho clone special mission pretty easily. And that's one that I really recommend going after and doing, because Relic 7 clones are obviously really great for gas in general. But it's also just permanent currency that you're going to keep getting as long as that planet is open, assuming your guild has access to it. The third thing to point out is that Embo and Tusken Raider, while they are not requirements, or not requirements at Relic 7, nor are they involved in a Zepho special mission or another special mission that I'm aware of, they're attackers. Like, they genuinely like being at Relic 7. It's not like a support character that it's like, all right, I guess you'll die just slightly less. No, the damage that they're actually doing on, you know, your 3v3 Tusken team or your Jabba team, like, that's actually relevant. The other thing that I really like about this pack is that it combos well with the gas bundle, which is currently active, by the way, as well as the Bad Batch bundle, just because there's no real overlap there in the sense that they duplicate characters in the pack, so the numbers are a little bit more realistic. And then in addition to that, I mean, you get the gas bundle, you get gas, you don't have clones. Now you have Relic 7 clones. It's a pretty good combo. And the last thing that's probably worth pointing out is that there right now is a new focus on highlighting both Lord Vader and Tarkin, which you get Tarkin for Lord Vader, so we'll just group them in there, both for the raid and with the new dark side clones. So even if you don't have access to the dark side clones right now, and you're just going to be using Lord Vader with an Empire team, or maybe even with Maul in there, this is still a pretty good deal, especially considering you probably will, hopefully, be farming dark side clones once they actually become free-to-play farmable. That's at least what I am currently waiting for them to do. So overall, I really like this pack. Worst case scenario, it's just as good as a lot of the other ones that have come out. It's doing something that's very relevant. It's going to save you 100 days of farming, assuming you don't have those characters already reliced all the way up. and then just not a lot of waste. Really low on waste. I guess I wish they would have made it a little bit cheaper. I feel like they could have gotten away with $40 instead of $50, but yeah, Relic 7 is Relic 7. But that is going to be it for the video today, guys. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay awesome.